Reclaimed is the podcast about the woman's journey of reclaiming her power through somatic work, breath work, plant medicine, and conversations. I am Kyla Gagnon, and this is Reclaimed. Hello, sweet friends. Welcome back to the conversation. I wanted to talk today about emotional regulation. This has been, I feel like, well, maybe it's just in my head, but I feel like I've been talking about this a lot. I've definitely been thinking about it a lot. If you follow my Instagram, it's been on there a lot, emotional regulation. And it might not, it's not the sexiest of terms, emotional regulation. It's not like, give me some of that. But at the end of the day, especially a day where we have acted a bit of a fool, what we actually wish we had was emotional regulation. And I know you can, I know you get it. I know you do. If you're listening to this, I guarantee you've had a moment, maybe today, maybe not today, where you have acted a bit of fool. And maybe that was outwardly towards someone else or an experience or circumstance, or maybe just internal dialogue and like getting in your head, stuck in your head, especially if you're an entrepreneur, if you work for yourself and you're running your own business, and maybe you're at the phase of maybe you're beginning in your business, or you're in a new development of it, or you're trying to create something new, or maybe you wear all the hats. Like maybe you do marketing and accounting and you're the face of and all of these things. I guarantee you have had some crazy thoughts that, and I say crazy meaning like, I don't know if I can do this, I'm not good enough. Any of those thoughts that are totally bogus, the thoughts that limit you, that hold you down, that get you looped in the spiral of what am I doing? I can't do this. This isn't for me. Emotional regulation. So what's happening in these moments where we act maybe out of alignment of our highest self, of our, goddess self, queen self, of that anchored, powerful self, when we act out of alignment of her, it's okay, we're human, but what's happening is there's a trigger, obviously, and then there's a pattern being repeated, and it's likely a pattern or like an internal dialogue that starts to happen, or the stories we start to tell ourselves. It's likely an old story, probably from our younger years, childhood, maybe preteen, and it's roaring its head quite likely in a new way, right? It's likely not the exact same situation, but it's something that triggers the same belief. So let me just see if I can offer an example. Let's say you grew up with an older brother and you were trying to learn how to play the violin, and you're struggling because you're learning how to play a really challenging instrument. You're learning, and so you're struggling. Let's say your older brother comes in with like, oh, you're no good. You're terrible at that. Put it away. Why do you even try? You're not a violin player. You're an artist, right? You're good at drawing. Don't even bother with the violin. So that in and of itself would have been quite painful to receive. But let's just now say you're grown. Let's say you're running a business. Let's just say you're running a business. And you are trying to figure out how to create this new product and get it updated onto your website so that people can purchase it and receive your goodness, receive your magic. But tech is like a new thing for you. You've never had to be the one to do this. And so you're really learning, how do I create this product? How do I put a payment link to it? How the hell do I get that on my website? How do people buy it? And then how do I know they bought it? And how do they receive the thing? And oh my God, I can't do this. I'm the artist. I can't do this. Tech is not my thing. I can't do it. That story of I can't do this, I'm not a tech person, is the same story of like, you're not a violin player, you're an artist. Do you see what I mean? And so we get looped in that pattern. Now here's the thing. We can be emotionally regulated and that story can still come up. I'm not saying that as an emotionally regulated human, you're not going to have stories come up and limitations come up. But what you're going to have are the tools to notice what's happening inside, notice that a story is coming up, noticing that you're getting very dysregulated, right? You're getting into a state of like, I think about myself in that situation because that has been my story. I'm not a tech person. And here I have a website that I've created myself. I run offers all the time. I run my social media. I run a podcast. I edit everything. Like, I've changed this story. You'll have the story come up, but you'll be able to catch yourself going into the loop, going into that. Like, I would get really defensive internally. I'd like, the part of me that would get defensive was like arms crossed, teenager, kind of pouty. I hate this, and a lot of swear words, and I suck, and I can't do this, and I don't even know why I bother. Like, I would go into all of the negative self-talk before being emotionally regulated. And now what I can do, this is fun, is I notice those feelings come up, and then I give myself a moment to actually feel it. Because here's the thing, if we don't give ourselves a moment or a few moments to feel the feeling that's coming up, that feeling doesn't get to process, and that feeling stays stuck in the body. And when the feeling stays stuck in the body, we repeatedly feel it, right? It's quite simple when we put it out that way, when we lay it out in that way. If this feeling doesn't get to emote and express and process out, well, then it just stays in my body. And if it stays in my body, I'm going to keep feeling it. And we don't want to keep feeling that. So we allow ourselves to feel it. I might even have a little tantrum. Might stomp up and down. I might punch a pillow. I might scream. I might be like, I fucking hate this. And I let it move through. And I come back to my sovereign, grown ass body. And I check myself. I'll probably do a bit of breath work here. Simple breath work. We don't even need to go into a big breath journey. In a moment like that, after having a big release and letting myself tantrum it out a little bit, I might sit or stand so that I feel really grounded, like really connected to the floor, or if I can be outside, to the ground, and simply take a breath in through my nose until I feel completely filled up. And then out my mouth, with a sigh. And I'll probably do that for 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 times until the energy of that sigh feels to soften. And then I might just watch myself breathe in and out through my nose a little bit. Come back to my center. Come back to myself. Come back home. Start again. But it's when we're dysregulated and we don't have those tools to come back, even the tools to notice that we're dysregulated, right? We have gone so many years without even noticing that we're dysregulated, and it just becomes our norm, which is wild. So when we can notice that we're dysregulated, okay, this feeling's coming up, I'm starting to feel that thing, okay, here we go. We have the tools to then allow that to process through, right? And this is a lot of what we do inside of Breathe with Kyla, inside of the Breathwork membership. It's a lot of what I do inside of my one-on-one, most of my group work. Emotional regulation, like, it's the foundation. Because if we don't have that, like, we're really just like swinging around. I'm having this visual of like monkeys like swinging from branch to branch to branch. Like, it's wild out there. It's wild out there, and we are grown. And one of our most powerful assets is the ability to be regulated and to have that tool within, so that we don't need to seek it externally. We don't need someone to calm us down. That comes from inside. And so this is going to show up in really beneficial ways for you in challenging conversations, especially, if you run a business, you're going to have challenging conversations. If you run a family, you're going to have challenging conversations. If you're in partnership, you're going to have challenging conversations. If you exist in public whatsoever, if you go to the grocery store, if you're in traffic, you might have to have challenging conversations. And to be able to regulate your emotions and understand what is worth being present here right now and what isn't, right? Like, maybe I don't need to totally blow a gasket on the nice bank teller who's telling me she can't give me that extra $50,000 that I want, whatever the situation is, right? No, she doesn't deserve your rage. You can have your rage alone, Emotionally regulating, a part of that is knowing when your emotions are, what would be the word? When your emotions are best kept to yourself and when they're okay to be shared. That's a big piece of emotional regulation. Yeah. So with that, my dear, doors are open. Doors are open on September 16th to Breathe with Kyla. This has previously been known as the Essentials. It's the Breathwork membership. And we've rebranded. Everything's rebranded. It's very exciting. And of course, to celebrate the rebrand, I'm opening the doors for 1 week. So September 16th, doors officially open. You can hit the link in the bio or in my bio, the link in the show notes, and that'll pop you on the wait list. And come tomorrow, you'll get an email that says, yo, girl, doors are open. If you want to come inside, here's your link. You can join us. What is inside Breathe with Kyla? You have a full library of practices to utilize at your beck and call. These practices are as short as 5 minutes and as long as 60 minutes. They range from breath work to meditation to movement. So you have yoga, fitness, all sorts of movement practices, all sorts of mindfulness practices and somatic practices. You also have access, this is the best part, to 2 conscious connected breathwork journeys every single month, live in Zoom with me guiding the community on the call with you, going into these big journeys, these beautiful breath practices where we can actually fully clear out the limiting beliefs, the old stories, get really aligned with that true self. Feel your emotions, allow them to process, learn that, feel that I'm okay with my emotions. These big emotions are okay. I can be with them. Okay, great. Beautiful practice, beautiful tool for helping us learn what regulation feels like. And then you also have 2 calls every month of just community connection. Like it is, wow, the community in this space is next level. I mean, the breathwork is phenomenal, but the community is next level. So the link, of course, for the waitlist is below. If you have questions, find me on Instagram, Breathe with Kyla. Ask away. I'm an open book. If you feel like, oh, I don't know, is this for me? Am I going to utilize it properly? Reach out. Let's talk about it, because if it's not the right fit, there might be something else for you. All right. Again, today is the 15th of September, which means doors are open tomorrow, September 16th, all the way through until September 23rd. That is your window to join us. And then the doors are closing again. All right. Have a beautiful day. Regulate the shit out of yourself. I love you. I believe in you. And I will see you soon. I'm running a free event September 19th at 7 p.m. Pacific time. This is the Breathe with Kyla Foundations, and it's a perfect place for you to come if you have questions about breathwork, if you have questions about the Breathe with Kyla membership, if you're already inside the membership and you have questions about the VIP upgrade or the mastermind. This is all going to be covered inside of the event. Of course, we're going to do a breathwork practice together, just a short, sweet one. Link is in the show notes, of course. Would love to see you there. Again, September 19th, 7 p.m., Breathe with Kyla Foundations.